Now, the fallout from Israel's strike targeting Hamas leaders in Doha is set to dominate two high-profile meetings in the Middle East today. In Doha, Arab and Muslim leaders are gathering for an emergency summit to coordinate their response and call for the international community to punish Israel. While the Qatari Prime Minister called the Israeli attack state terrorism, but also said his country remained committed to trying to reach a ceasefire to end the nearly 2-year-long war that has devastated Gaza. Israel has defended the strike on Qatari soil. Iran's president is amongst those leaders attending the meeting. We've seen Masoud Pezeshkian departing from Tehran. He's urging Muslim countries to cut ties with Israel ahead of the summit. In Israel, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is meeting with the US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, for a second day. Their bilateral has just got underway. Mr. Netanyahu hailed the visit as a sign that the US-Israel alliance is stronger than it's ever been. Asked by reporters in Washington what his message to the Israeli Prime Minister would be after Israeli jets bombed Doha last week, here's what the US President had to say.
They have to be very, very careful. They have to do something about Hamas. But Qatar's been a very great ally. So Israel and everybody else, we have to be careful. When we attack people, we have to be careful.
Well, joining me now, our correspondent in Jerusalem, Mura Davis, and Nafisa Konavad, who's in Doha. Thanks very much, both. Nafisa, to you first. Just tell us what the organisers of this summit are hoping to gain from it.
This summit was organised at the request of Qatar, and it's kind of show of solidarity in the region and across Islamic countries, Islamic Arabic and some other Islamic countries like Iran. Solidarity with Qatar that was attacked by Israel. Israel says that the attack wasn't against Qatar itself, but here atmosphere in Doha is that they consider the attack for killing Hamas leaders against this country's sovereignty. So it was very important for Qatar to show that regional countries also will come to support Qatar against any further threat which continue. Israeli Prime Minister repeatedly has said that wherever they want and if they see any threat against them, they are going to pursue and repeat such attack against any countries, including Qatar, if they still host Hamas leaders. So in this way, it is significant. But lines of resolution that is expected that it will be the ending resolution of this summit signed by leaders that are here now in Doha. It's leaking to the media, and it shows that it's kind of is not going further than a political diplomatic condemnation, although there is a warning against Israel that such attack and such acts can jeopardize any normalization with any countries in the region and also jeopardize Israel's relationships with other countries in the region that they just started to normalize their relationship with Israel.
And Mura Davis in Jerusalem, we've got this visit from the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, to Israel. Of course, we have also had these comments from Donald Trump as it balances its relations with two allies.
Yeah, well, look, there are very public shows of unity between Benjamin Netanyahu and Marco Rubio yesterday at the Western Wall, and there will be opportunities across Jerusalem today for them to repeat those scenes. But you're quite right, behind the scenes, it's been a very difficult week for Israel and the Americans. We understand there was a pretty tense phone call between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu last week, in which Mr. Trump reportedly berated Mr. Netanyahu for that Israeli attack on Hamas leaders in Qatar, which happened apparently without warning the Americans beforehand. And we've heard the Americans say several times publicly that they didn't agree with what Israel did, and they urge caution from here on in. The Americans, of course, have promised the Qataris that such a thing will not happen again, at least on Qatari soil. But even after that assurance was given, Benjamin Netanyahu warned Qatar that unless Hamas leaders are expelled from Qatar, he reserves the right to attack them again. So I think there are some diplomatic headaches for the Americans. There are some suggestions, some analysis in the Israeli media this morning that Benjamin Netanyahu is acting a bit like of a loose cannon, not only doing what he wants with Hamas attacks on Hamas leaders, but also continuing and escalating the war in Gaza. And that's really important because not just the international community, but Donald Trump is also keen to find a way to end the war in Gaza, but that doesn't appear to be on the Israeli government's agenda right now.
Yeah, Mura, whilst you were talking, we're just bringing up these live shots we're getting from Gaza, showing people fleeing, we're told, from the northern Gaza Strip and Gaza City to southern Gaza. Just tell us what we know about what's going on the ground there.
Yeah, they're almost apocalyptic scenes in Gaza now. The Israelis themselves say that 300,000 people have left Gaza City, a city where about 1 million people are thought to be either living or sheltering. Israeli airstrikes have continued over the weekend, many more high-rise buildings destroyed, which Israel says are being used by Hamas. But many in the international community, and particularly those on the Gazan side, say it's an exercise in a scorched earth policy. Israel is also preparing for a ground offensive because Netanyahu has made it clear he wants to defeat Hamas in Gaza City and the rest of the Gaza Strip before he is ready to end the war. So a lot of concerns on the humanitarian front. Israel says it will provide food, shelter and accommodation in these so-called safe zones further south, but in reality few parts of Gaza can be considered as safe. There have been attacks on these areas in recent days, and the UN was saying over the weekend that many people who have been trying to flee Gaza City, flee the bombing, have actually been turning around and heading back north because there is no shelter, there is no sufficient accommodation because of the war.
OK, Mura Davis and Nafisa Kunavad, thank you both very much indeed for that.